Genius Production.
Started late last night, gave me such a fright. Yo, and welcome to the very first Kodaha Fantasy Basketball League podcast. We got Lenny Cooper, Freddie Jenner, and myself, David Dyer, as your co-host here today. We got lots to talk about. I'm excited. We have a fantasy NBA basketball, organization every year, and it just keeps growing bigger and bigger, and we're just ready to roll.
More and more well organized each year with different facets and things to the league. All-star games, drafts, now a podcast, a weekly write-up if Dre does it.
I don't know if he's going to do it, but we've got lots to talk about.
If he wins his
today.
first couple, he might.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Lots to talk about today. What do we have on the agenda?
So what should we break it down? Foug's court case. What do you reckon's going to happen with that? Yeah, I think he's got his Jewish lawyer George sorted out to defend him.
Maybe break it down a little bit. Why did he have a court case?
Because pretty much he was like the most intense fantasy player apart from a couple others, but he would stay up till 2 a.m. refreshing the waiver list, so he didn't use a waiver up, and he could pick a player up to pretty much making the playoffs and not playing. So yeah, I think people were a bit buzzed out by the variation and in terms of enthusiasm towards the league there. And I guess not playing is pretty frowned upon, especially in a final. So,
and whose side are you on? Do you think he should be let back in the league, or?
I was pretty grumpy about it, but he fell in love for the first time, so you gotta cut the man a little slack, I guess.
Okay, so
how about you? How do you feel about it?
I think let the man play. He's an exciting character for our league, and our league is just all about the excitement and the characters. Not much brains behind the draft picks or the trades. It's all just one an emotion, and he's pretty good big part of that. So
in terms of characters, like
I'm on Foug's side.
Even yourself, like you went from some pretty outrageous drafts without sleeping and dropping players after 3 weeks and going off to the money league, you know what I mean? Like, and now you came third last year, and the year before that you were in the playoffs, like before COVID hit. Where do you see like the big change in your skill and motivation towards the league? Like, did it switch like flick, or you just growing up?
I would say I did do a couple drafts high, allegedly on some white flour, and not having any sleep and drafting players like Dwight Howard doesn't suit anyone.
I know that KG trade blew Dre's mind. So.
The KG trade?
Yeah.
Maybe did a couple dodgy things in the past, but anyway, I think I've always been the best fantasy player in the league anyway. I'm super unlucky last year to not make it to the finals. Just so many things had to go Kitty's way on the last day or even that week. So yeah, super unlucky to not make the finals, but that is what it is.
What like an intense year. Like I know like Kerry hit a 3 with like 2 minutes left in the Denver game and beat me by like 1-3 and then went to the playoffs. I thought that was like insane until AJ and Zach's match up with the Steel. That was just next level. Like, so to get a Steel taken away.
Explain it for taken away. So what happened was at the end of the day, they had won because it was a tiebreaker, and the tiebreaker's points, and so AJ had the lead. Yeah. And then we go to sleep. We wake up the next morning, and Zach has a miraculous has a steal added to his tally. It's highly controversial because I did some trawling through the week, looked at all the corrections. There was nothing at all around him adding a steal. The only person that can actually change the numbers is Zach, the general manager. So he did that to win the championship.
Do you reckon it
So yeah,
was?
very controversial.
Do you reckon it was something to it too? There.
I didn't think Zach would go that low to win. I know he would probably.
You already thought about it?
Nah, so he would do things that he thinks is right, even though it's leaning towards him. Like everyone has a bias, and Zach's obviously still going to be biased, but I don't think he would go that low. But I'm going to give him shit for it forever. So yeah, he cheated.
So Dre's going to be trying to put an asterisk on that one.
I think so. It's a massive asterisk. Like it's just still come from nowhere. There was a crazy finals that come down to the very last day, and then for it to end like that, it's crazy.
I know, like Zach seemed pretty like genuine. He was like on the chat. He was like, "Damn, like I lost," sort of thing, like on the day before. So I think he was genuinely, yeah, he wasn't playing up in my opinion, but
Yo, welcome to the first official Fantasy Kura Hub Basketball League podcast. Today, 20th of August, let's go. We got our special guest, Foug, and we got co-host Freddie Jenner, and we got George in the background cooking us up some fried chicken with some ice. Let's go. Let's get ready. So, welcome, Foug, to the first podcast, your first guest. How does it feel to be a part welcomed back to the new fantasy league? I say part because we've got to iron out this court case, but we've made the first cut.
One did not think that this day was going to come. You know, I have my lawyer here, so I'm sure he'll have some comments about the case that's on the horizon.
To discuss any legal proceedings at this time. This is just a discussion about shop. So we're going to proceed. There's been no decision for my client up to this point. So as of present day, he's still an official member, and we'll just proceed, assuming that'll be the case for the foreseeable future. That's my statement.
Well said.
It's good to have a nice Jewish lawyer on my back.
Who do you reckon the prosecution is going to be?
What's that?
Who do you think the prosecution lawyer is going to be?
Oh, there's going to be a lot of Zach. I assume there'll be some Andre in the mix. Andre, he's a man who has a lot to say, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why do you think you're getting charged? And do you think it's fair?
Anna? Some people have questions for you.
We're not answering any questions at this time about the court case.
Yeah, I guess we're not. Yeah.
All due respect, there's a lot of things to talk about. In due course, the time will come where we discuss those things, but it's in my client's best interest this time not to speak about any impending court cases or charges against him.
Okay, so we won't talk about the court case, but how do you think last year played out? Sort of the fantasy basketball season.
I think it was a tremendous success. One thing that I do think was a bit weird was, where was the website? These are the issues that the people care about. We had one for previous seasons. Is it just me, or is it because Andre was doing so badly that he decided to not have a website?
Well, that's what we all think. What's your thoughts on that, George?
The website was cool. Yeah, I mean, you want everyone to participate equally and handle their responsibilities the same way.
Okay, so
the responsibilities not being held up this season, and the website was one of those. Yeah, it'd been cool to have it for sure.
Okay, who was the biggest surprise for the fantasy basketball year last year in your eyes?
Ooh.
In terms of NBA players.
NBA players. I mean, Jokic is not a great answer, but I mean, I don't think anyone thought he was going to be the MVP before the season started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so gutted I didn't take him at 4. I could have had him, but I took AD, which was a terrible decision. But looking back, like Jokic going at 5 was like a steal.
Jokic went at 6.
So Dre took Drummond at 5. Yeah, that's insane.
Was it 5th? Was it 5th that he got Drummond? Woo!
I think that has to be the worst pick in fantasy basketball history, well, especially for our league, taking Drummond at 5. That's just crazy.
What about the draft stopping? That was pretty insane as well. The draft stopped so you could get Simmons instead of Trey.
Trey Young Simmons controversy.
So I misclicked Trey Young and clicked Ben Simmons, and I made everyone stop the draft and we pick. The thing is, it didn't matter because Foug made his two picks.
Yeah, true.
What do you guys think of Embiid as a surprise player? Cheers. Not because he's really good, but just because he stayed healthy like all year. He was a productive player like all year long. And do you think someone's going to maybe steal, like try and take him too early?
Would he go top 10, like late?
And he'll get hurt, and it'll just cost them a season because he's number 2 in the MVP.
Would you take AD or Embiid?
I would take Embiid just because Westbrook and Melo is there. Not that Melo's going to get many minutes, but he's going to get a lot of shots when he is there. He'll probably get like 15 to 20.
If someone takes AD over Embiid, if like Embiid's on the board and I'd be really surprised.
AD was really bad last year, but it's coming off an injury, and I don't know.
So is AD still top 10?
Was Embiid
healthy?
Healthy?
What about KD?
Who
was Embiid completely healthy
top
to finish the playoffs? Was he?
He missed a little bit of time at the end there.
Oh, okay.
It was. I mean, so many people got injured last year at the end of the season. But yeah, I mean, Embiid was hurt for I think 3 or so weeks. Yeah, he kept. I mean, like he kept playing. He got hurt in the playoffs too, and then he came back. Like
That's right. Yeah.
But he did have he was like one in the MVP, and then Jokic was catching up, and then
Yeah.
Does Giannis change now because he's won and he knows what it takes to win in the finals, where maybe he doesn't care about MVPs now? He's won a couple. Does he chill during the regular season a little bit, like pretty much every other superstar does, besides ones that haven't won, like Jokic? Does he make that mindset switch?
It's a really good question.
It's a really good question.
It's such a good question.
I mean, he's still really young, right? Like he's been relatively healthy.
Yeah, that's true. He's at 26, 27.
A week later.
And I know all about that because the time I was walking to get Curry, hyperextended my knee, like the day after Giannis did it. I know the struggle.
You're a little more injury prone than Giannis, though, to be fair.
I mean, we don't have free throw percentage, so it's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, he was still number 1 in the league. The Jokic last year, so number 2. So
Jokic was 1.
You know what? Here's how I'm going to answer that question. So, I mean, you see a lot of players, once they get the monkey off their back, it's easier. But you also see, I mean, it's hard to repeat. I mean, everyone has a target on them.
Mm-hmm.
Then at the same time, how many times have we seen LeBron just coast? And he's like, I'm going to make the playoffs. Then I'm there. Then I'm going to start firing.
But G-Man ain't prime LeBron. G-Man ain't like, you're talking about
the difference between LeBron is that he's going to still, like, when he's chilling, he'll still going to get you 8.5 rebounds, 8.5 assists per game. He'll still get 25 points just chilling. The thing with Giannis is that in order for him to get his stats, is he needs to be attacking the basket. He needs to be aggressive, where LeBron can get you stats without being aggressive. He could just, play point guard and then turn up in the fourth.
That's true.
It's just, it'll be interesting. I think he'll still probably go crazy, but
here's what I will say about that. Yes, I mean, he's Giannis. He's going to be Giannis. You know who I think is going to be better than him and should be a higher pick is my man Luka Doncic. I mean, he is hungry after what happened at the Olympics. Boy's going to come out firing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that probably you could make an argument Luka goes 1 over Joker next year. I think that's like I think that's the debate. I think Giannis is top 3.
Oh yeah.
But I think that the who's going to go first should be between Joker and Luka.
You can't really go wrong with the 1, 2, 3 this year.
Yeah. I mean, Fred, I'm just curious. I don't want to steer us too far away from, but if you had the first pick, who would you go with?
I like Joker, eh? If he can do the same thing as what he did last year, it's just such a good like build. Like he gets a lot of stats that you wouldn't expect him to get. Like he racks up assists.
Especially as a center, like getting assists as a center is crazy.
I mean, yeah.
The one thing about Jokic though is that it was his first year where he came out and he was balling. There wasn't much break between the bubble and the season, so he was already in shape. But previous years he's been a slow start, and he always comes right. But I don't know. Does the start of the season even matter anyway? Like he's going to finish strong.
Will
Jamal Murray be back at the start of the season, or
there's rumors that he's already doing basketball activities, so he's only about 5 months removed, so he wouldn't be back right away, and that is huge. I mean, you could say that he helps Jokic a lot. They have really good 2-man game, but you could also say that Jokic might carry a little bit more. The other guy that's interesting, if Jamal Murray isn't playing, where does MPJ go?
MPJ.
He bored last year.
Also, especially with a 12-man league, people like him, he's definitely on a roster.
Oh, on a roster. I think he goes the first half of the draft. He might be a 4th-round pick with 12.
I think he's a top 40, top 50 player.
Yeah. So, to be fair, he was for the last 2 or 3 months. He was a 20-10 guy, damn near. That's a really solid pickup.
Yeah.
He had like a slump, and then he came out like going crazy again.
He shoots a high percentage.
21.
Shoots a lot of threes. Yeah.
Yeah, he money from 3.
He's only coming into his 3rd season, right? It was his 2nd season last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So how does the 12-team expansion affect our league?
I'm going to make sure I have my hands on Winslow before David gets him.
You guys are going to be fighting over Winslow.
Winslow, 3rd-round pick. 4th-round pick. I mean, guys
but it'll be a lot different. And what about the All-Star game? Give us your thoughts, George. Or was it I guess Foul and
our
Fred.
All-Star game, like the
yeah.
So I shot like shit.
You made some clutch.
I made some clutch buckets, but I was pissed about my field goal percentage at the end.
You had two game winners.
Shots. I was rusty. I came in. I'd been playing some casual league games, and you know how like when you play like 4 or 5, you almost shoot a little bit worse. Because like you're actually thinking about your form a little bit, and you're like you have more of a memory about misses and makes and all that. But I thought they were fun, competitive games, man. I really do. Like I like the way it went. I think it was, I'm biased, but I think it was a little more even than how it played out in the end.
I know you guys
I
thought
thought they were good competitive games, man.
If they were all to 15, then you guys it would have been closer.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think look, there's always going to be like a bit of rules. In the end, you're playing hoop, so like, we probably would have had a bit of an advantage just in terms of some more physicality in a short burst. But in the end, I think that you guys, we're on the other team. You guys came out really aggressive, and you hit us in the mouth first, and we bounced back a bit. But I think you came out with that first punch, and that's kind of what did it in my mind.
I mean,
What about you, Farrell? What's your view on it?
I mean, it's going to be pretty lit. So.
What's your view on the whole game, Farrell? Because you're the last pick, which I didn't think could be nice, but you sealed the whole series with that last shot.
And I took it personally when I was the last pick.
Okay, yeah.
He took it personally.
and the games. So how did you think the games went? And what's your view on the whole game and the draft and everything?
it's going to add a lot of excitement having B and Alex in it, you know. Renz, yeah. Just a whole new vibe, you know.
Be good for the game to have some subs too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
really
sub will
get
be
that run
insane.
going. Be a little strategic. Like, do a little bit more coaching. Like, you know, who do you want in at the end of games? Like, who's going to need a little bit more rest? Who's going to need, you know, what, this, that, and the other.
Do we play it at the same venue, like at Pam's or Crossways, or do we try and go on a full court, or do you reckon that worked out pretty well on the size that we played on?
It was really good. I just feel like it had to be recorded.
Yeah.
Recorded, yeah.
The full court would have benefited us a lot more because we like to run a lot more. The horrible thing about it is that I played a rugby game straight afterwards. The very first run I took, I started cramping up, and we lost by like 70. It was like 70-0 or something, and I was just absolutely horrible. I couldn't run, and yeah, it was.
I hear you guys got crushed in that game.
Yeah, it was just bad, but we won the more important game.
That's true.
So yeah, with that game, like I know a few people were saying that like David carried us pretty heavily, which brings me to the question of could David take anyone, like the worst 4 other players, and still win a KFBL All-Star game?
Well, I mean, David carried y'all offensively, but like defensively, like that was pretty. Like that's one side of the ball. Like you've got to look at both sides of the ball, and like you got to talk about like he went with AJ with the first pick, and people
AJ had 8 steals.
on him, but AJ was how many steals did AJ have?
He had 8, I think.
Like AJ might have had a triple double.
Like it's people.
Rebounds.
Yeah, like David was the MVP because he scored the most. But you have to think about both sides of the ball. So I don't know about that. I don't think David could just take anyone's role.
And AJ was just picking everyone, and we knew that AJ, whenever like a weak dribbler had the ball, AJ was just going after them and trying to ship them. Yeah,
would you take AJ if you get first pick? Would you go AJ first again, or you don't want to play? You don't want to give too much away, or
the crazy thing is that I don't think Gede would take AJ first. I think he'd go with Andre first.
Yep.
But yeah, so even if I was first or second, I'd still AJ.
Yeah.
And like I knew
I think he's gonna take you.
I mean, you know, like who
I
got
knew
the last bucket like to win us that chip? I mean, it was ready, but I did the pass.
Yeah. I knew everyone's like old and slow, and we're gonna have a series of 10 to 7. And I knew that if I had AJ and Fred and me, we were the 3 fittest guys out of everyone, that it was like I was just going by fitness, and I knew AJ was going to be able to be up the whole time. I knew I was going to be able to run the whole time, and Lenny was about to be able to run the whole time. So
I think it'll be like the players that we're adding to it will be a cool dynamic. I mean, like Renz is like 6'2", forward, defensive minded, hit an open 3. And then we got B, who's like Mighty Mouse. He's going to be up and down the court, going hard, assists. I think like they're 2 very different players, but they're both good ballers, which will be like a positive for the league for sure, especially for that game. It's good that we got 2 people that can ball that are coming in, especially.
I mean, he is really good. B, he's a great team player. You know, he's very good, but he talks better than he actually is, and I don't think he'd get a goddamn bucket on me. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, Foug.
Let's go.
But it's kind of good to have that mindset that B's got. Like he genuinely will say without a smile on his face that he's better than David. He said he was better than Seabuck. So like,
yeah.
Hey, better to be
yeah.
confident.
I think it's just that mindset. Well, Farrell, where would you pick yourself if you were if there was 10 players, run your 1 to 10 pick within 1 to 12 right now. It would be interesting to get your thoughts. It's including yourself, but be completely honest and try and be. If you're just a general manager, you're building the team.
See, I mean, while I think that I'm a top 3 talent, I wouldn't pick myself in the top 3 because that would be a bad move, because just because I think that doesn't mean that, you know, the other person wouldn't try to take me much later. I probably think I'd probably sit around 8, but I will be sending videos of myself making progress and then, you know, like jumping high and, you know, doing squats, and then people will be like, hey, you know, maybe we should draft this guy quite high. I mean, hey, look, I'll be happy as long as I'm not the fucking last pick. Here's a question that I have. How did you find playing defense against Kerry? And what do you think of the rumors that he's been playing competitive basketball now? You know, are things going to be different in 2022?
I think it'll be a lot different. He'll probably just shoot a high percentage. The way we played him though was if he was in the paint, we'll triple teaming him, and like someone else was going to have to score. We knew we had to keep our eyes on Andre because he was the only one in the other team that could make an open shot, like consistently. And so I don't know. I think like us triple teaming him, even if he gets a little bit better, he'll probably knock down a couple more open shots, you know, hit his free throws. But I think we're just gonna have to triple team him because any time it was one-on-one down the paint, he was scoring. Like it was probably like, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 times that he had the opportunity and he got a bucket, and that was just the reality of it. So
big body.
Yeah. No, it was interesting, that strategy, because it did work. We just couldn't hit our open shots. That was what frustrates me looking back on it, is I know things might have gone different if I personally had a higher percentage.
And I think like Fred started off really hot, and he shot well. He shot his open shots. Zach didn't shoot too well. He had 2 games where he probably shot maybe like 50 or 60%, but he wasn't shooting that well. But yeah, I think everyone was rusty. Like I didn't think I'd played basketball like a 5-on-5. Like I probably played like 3 5-on-5 games in the last 3 years, 3-4 years, you know, so I probably play like once a year. So I probably shot like 10 or 12 3-pointers, didn't make one, but I'm still going to shoot 10 or 12 every time.
What am I, your fucking bartender? And shaking a glass at
you
drink up.
Do you reckon it'll be possible to do a draft and a fantasy combine run on the same day, or do you reckon that's asking too much of 12 people to
I would separate it out just to like have fun events. You know what I mean? Like you want to have these opportunities to have fun events with the boys.
Oh, baby, I'm just doing a podcast at the moment.
So it is a possibility, or
I was thinking separated.
So separated. So there'll be no combine. Just do the draft.
I could see it like we have like our draft day.
Yeah.
And then we have like a mid-year.
Yeah, true.
Mid-season catch up, and then we'll have like the end of year
all-star game and drink up. That drink up was super fun.
Just come. Don't worry about it. This is the reason why the event happened. That I'm not going to talk about because of legal reasons.
All right. Can I boil the water?
Yeah.
No, you can't. Sorry.
So what do you guys reckon about like power rankings for the actual fantasy season? I know like the demigods of fantasy like Zach and
Zach's got to be one.
Will be there always up at the top. Like
Zach's got to be one going into the new season. He's the champ, reigning champ, and he had the best regular season record. Yeah. I think two is AJ.
It has to be AJ still.
I think AJ's 2. I think that realistically, he had the second best team. His team was stacked.
So I've had
just
powerhouse. He may have focused a little bit more on some stats and less, but he had like 7 all-stars on his team. He did a good job.
Last season, I had the second best record, and the year before that, I had the second best record, and I didn't make the finals on some bullshit. So I would say having the second best record 2 years in a row, beating AJ twice in the regular season last year. What more would I have to do?
It's a good argument. No, you have a good argument for being second as well, for sure.
And
Jared made the finals as well. So he's got
and I beat AJ for third and fourth. So
You to take the bronze medal there.
But the thing is, like AJ, what happened to him last season? This is a man who has a chip on his shoulder now. This is a man who feels like that the Lord himself came down and smited the stat sheet.
Yeah, that was insane.
This is a man who's going to come out guns blazing. He's going to spend 80% of his work week just making charts, getting ready. Like, I would watch out for Mr. Jordan Sloan. Things are going to get serious.
He's got pie charts and all sorts.
before we wrap up, we just got a couple quick fire questions. So, we got some predictions for next year. So, who wins and who comes last? That's the first question.
I'll probably win. I don't know who'll come last.
You have to name someone.
Andre.
Do you reckon Dre's going to go for a crazy draft again? And he'll just try and shock everyone at the draft again, or?
No, I think he's a competitive year. I think he plays a lot more conservatively and tries to actually compete. I think he'll be a decent. He's been in the playoffs before.
Yeah.
He's not like a.
He's not going to take Whiteside at 40 again.
I mean, I don't know. Is Whiteside still in the league? But I might have to take him, Andre. I'm going to take him before you. Watch out.
Is Drummond going to go in the fourth round? These are the questions.
What team is Drummond on now?
He's on the Sixers for some reason.
Oh, the Sixers. What do they think Embiid's not
I
going
don't
to
know
play?
what they're thinking. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, Fred. What about you? What are your picks this next year? First and last.
For the league.
Yeah.
I don't know about last. I think like there's a few people that could definitely come last. But my prediction,
Pick someone.
I think maybe AJ. I think AJ wins it this year after what happened last year.
All right.
But,
David, I think I know who you're going to say is going to win. Who do you think is going to come in last, though?
It has to be Andre. He's coming last. One. Probably AJ or John. I would say there's probably AJ or John. George, you might make a comeback this year. You won the league a couple of years ago, but you're quite disappointing this year. The thing is, it was just like some bad, like that first trade. Everyone thought that you finessed AJ.
It was a little bit controversial even from the start. Not everyone felt that way, but I felt like I won. I clearly did not.
So the trade was Nurk for Levine. The thing is, before Nurk got injured, he was a beast, and in the bubble, he was crazy. So all he had to do was play somewhere in between, and he would have been better than Levine. But Levine blew up, and Nurk was absolutely horrible, and that was all she wrote. He was hurt. The playoffs.
Talking about Levine, I know George, you already asked that question to me, but like, what happens with Levine now that the changes to the Bulls? I mean, like, he was insane last season. Like, what could he do this year with those extra pieces like DeRozan and Lonzo on the team?
It's a good question. I mean, I think the efficiency probably stays where it is. I think he's going to shoot at a high percentage. He's going to shoot threes. I think he's honestly going to make a bit of a jump, but it won't show up in volume because he's not going to be the same ball handler. But I mean, Levine's, that's the thing is, like, I drafted Levine what was considered kind of high at the time because I thought
in the
he was going
40s?
to have an awesome year. It was like end of the third, I think.
Yeah.
Which, like, could have been seen as high, but like obviously we know he was a top 20 fantasy player, easy, maybe top 15. And I think he stays around that. I think he's in that top 20 still. I think he was like 27 last year, maybe 25, but he's going to shoot 40 from three. He's going to have 5-6 assists.
I would agree with that. This team, I mean, with Alonzo, they're going to run and gun. There's going to be a lot of ball movement. It's going to be very high paced. A guy like Levine, after the season he just had, there's no way he scores less than 25 a game. I mean, he's going to get buckets. And I think just as you said, with those other options out there, the ball movement, his percentages are going to go up.
Yeah.
His assists are going to be pretty much none, though.
Pretty much. He's not much of a passer.
No. Especially.
But like Lonzo's got a shot. Like he shot well last year, and the thing with Levine is that he's always scored. Like even in the Timberwolves, he was getting like 19, 18. I think he got 20 points a game per season. So, and that was with Wiggins and Cat getting most of the ball. So he's always been like an efficient scorer. I think Levine's going to get buckets, and just because on the floor and with Lonzo and DeRozan there, he'll get like 4 or 5 assists maybe. And yeah, he's going to shoot efficiently. So I think he'll be definitely top 20.
Is there a chance he makes a leap that we don't see? Like he becomes a 30-point, like Lonzo just like helps him out, gets him over the hump?
I can't see it. Unless Lonzo is just, because the thing is, Lonzo was really efficient last year, but he wasn't the primary ball handler. He was shooting, in that corner, catch and shoot shots. Even at the end of the season, when Lonzo was playing his best, Zion was everything was running through Zion. So yeah, unless something happens with Lonzo, I see Levine getting, the stat like 25 points a game, 4 or 5 assists. He'll probably shoot like more threes, maybe like 7 threes a game, 7 8 threes a game. But yeah, it's I think it'd be cool.
What about
I got to shoot off anyway. Maybe Lenny can carry on.
Yeah.
If you want to keep going, Fred, we can go for another 5-10.
Yeah.
How do we?
Just really quick, are we all in agreement that Vooch's numbers across the board are going to go down, just given the situation he was in and now what he is in?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks, David. This was super fun. Take it easy.
Yeah. Oh.
Does he know how to close?
How do I save this?
You gotta stop recording.
We're very happy to be the first guests on your show. Look forward to viewing many more episodes.
Yeah, we didn't know we'd be guests.
As a host, sorry. As a host, I want to put the feelers out. Like who from the league would you guys be keen to see on here in the coming weeks? Like,
I'd love to.
A lot of good faces.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much anyone would be interesting to hear from. I think the usual subjects would be super. I'd be interesting to hear Z talk about his championship run.
Yeah, I'd definitely love to hear about Zach getting the monkey off the back, like being
on
so many corrupt league wins and then finally get a legit ring.
Yeah. Actual real ring, unlike a fake one. A
lot of controversy.
A lot of controversy
in his past. You got to give him credit. Got to give him credit. He did it.
I'd love to hear John's take on the trade, on the trade that got revoked. That would be a really interesting conversation to me. Just like what that was like to see that side. You could do it from Zach's and then like have John do a John perspective and do like a whole retrospective of, because that was like a huge moment this season. There wasn't a ton of like real controversy, obviously, until the playoffs. There was a bit of controversy, but before that regular season, there wasn't the usual amount. What do you think, Brad? Who would you like to see on that maybe I didn't mention?
I mean, Andre would talk the most shit. That would be very entertaining.
That'd be a good one.
But I mean, just about everyone would have a unique perspective. I want to know what the hell Khan was thinking. Like, so many trades, man. Like, I mean, there were some good ones in there, but I think it reached a point and
trades a week.
No disrespect. I think the man had a trade addiction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Love him, but shit.
It started out as a way of being competitive, turned into a bit of a meme, and then maybe turned into a full-on Las Vegas gambling addiction. So, maybe the slow decline into madness, the Con retrospective. The last name I'd throw out would just be AJ was like a stat away from going to the final.
Yeah, AJ would be dope. And also hearing his preparation, like I wouldn't want him to give too much away, but just like what he goes through in the fantasy season of running, how much stats he's running and all the sleepless nights that he has, like that would just be really interesting to hear.
What are the slices that make up the pie chart?
What if it's just he's just like got a dartboard and it's just not like what if he's not even like doing anything? He's just praying to a dartboard. No, I think he probably has lots of charts.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, have you guys got anything else you wanna add? We're probably just over 8 weeks away from the draft day.
That's crazy.
It's not that far.
8 weeks.
Damn.
Let's hope that we're out of lockdown for that.
I hope
Go
we
on.
are in lockdown for another 2 months. That'd be pretty critical at that point. Staying here with you and Hannah. No, I mean, I'm sure we'll be in person at that point. But yeah, that's always a fun day, man.
Draft
That's
day is
always
awesome.
a day.
The
We'll have to
nerves,
figure
the
out a venue.
laughter.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's dope. You guys were the first guests ever on the KFBL podcast.
Making history, man. You got a double guest and probably didn't even realize that was going to happen.
Yeah,
We had a good conversation, man. That was sick. It's always good to
Sure.
talk hoops, man. It's always good to also think about, like, there's so many things in the season, like, you forget. Like, thought
Yeah.
maybe I'd move past that goddamn fucking Nurk trade.
That's gonna haunt you for your days.
No, I need there to be a new draft so someone else can do something dumb. Like, people are still talking about it. Must have been dumb because like someone drafted Drummond 5th and people are still talking about that trade. So it must have been bad. You know, it was bad if it would have been the same draft that someone drafted Drummond 5th.
It's never going to be quite as bad as not putting your players in. I mean, if someone did that, not that. I mean,
The first time I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
First time I've ever heard of. Oh man.
So is this going to be every week or?
Yeah, well, this is like the pre-season one, and then we might do one before the draft day, and then during the season we'll probably try and get one once a week or at least once a fortnight if we can. During the season, there's always like heaps to talk about each week, like crazy trades and injuries, and yeah, there's just like a lot going on. But yeah.
Looking forward to it.
So what does your preparation go into? Like how you and David split up responsibilities? Like you coming up with questions together?
Yeah, I normally like write a script of what's like the main things that are going to get talked about, and then I just run it through David, and then he adds a few more things. Yeah, on the day. So this was kind of just like a test to see what it would look like, but I think it's come out pretty well. Yeah.
I mean, no real pauses in conversation. We were running by. There's a lot to talk about always, so I feel like this is a good format. I thought that you had some pretty good questions, so it's good to like think about both what's happening in the big league, but also our league as well.
Yeah.
Kind of a little bit who's going to get drafted where. That's what people are thinking about, but also like who's gonna fuck up this season, who's gonna have a good draft, who's the favorite, what happened last season. So yeah.
Like with 12 people, like think about the disparity of like the players on the teams, like to compare like AJ or Zach's team compared to Dre's team last year, like at the end of the season, like you look at the names on each team, like with 12 teams, do you reckon that disparity could be even bigger? Like someone might even not even have one all-star, and then someone could be stacked out with 7 of them. Like
the big difference, I think, and this is just from like experience of playing other fantasy sports and the league jumping up in size, is you really are limited in free agents. Like you really like you can get like the league is pretty deep, like the NBA, so you'll be able to get good like productive players most rounds.
it's going to be another 20 players out of the pool.
Like, yeah, ain't no one picking up Colin Sexton like a month into the season. You know what I mean? Like people were getting like solid contributors. Like I got Draymond like a month and a half into the season, and he was putting up like 15 assist games. Like there's no way you're gonna just be able to pick up a guy that's gonna, you know what I mean? Like gonna contribute. Like people are gonna be drafting some of these rookies like Like, Suggs is going to get drafted. Like some of these players, like Scotty Barnes is going to get drafted. Like Kuminga's probably going to get, like some of these players that like may not even do anything. Whereas like, I don't even know if Anthony Edwards probably got drafted, but like, and Wiseman probably got drafted. But other than that, I don't think any rookies even got drafted. Well, Ball would have got drafted. But other than those three, like you knew there were like three good players, but people are going to be like, shooting in the dark at some people, and that
That's a good point though. Like, where do you reckon Ball goes?
Oh, he's got to go in the first half of the draft. I mean, like you'd be crazy if he's like in the fourth round and you don't get him. Like that's a guy who's going to probably be like a second year if he's healthy, like a 20-10 guy pretty consistently. I think. Like the point guard's obviously pretty deep, but he's a fucking baller. Like I mean,
even if he wasn't,
he's going to get minutes
in the 12-person league. I mean, he's definitely going up.
Yeah,
he has to.
You
have to take him. You have to take him, especially because he'll be playing a lot of minutes. But the thing I love about this league is that people give a shit. I mean, obviously, this is sounding pretty ridiculous coming from someone that may or may not have put their players in.
I don't think it sounds ridiculous, but because you've done nothing wrong.
Exactly. You got to have a nice Jewish life. But given how serious things were last season, we've had other seasons in the past where things were serious, but this is a season where like people actually paid a lot of money to get in, and we took it seriously, and now we run that back. We add more people. It's just gonna like. I really think this is not only the most serious and like nerdy league in the country, but it has to be the best.
Yeah,
it has to be the best,
it's definitely the best. And I think that the thing that's cool is that it's almost like it's a league of commissioners. Like the amount of investment that everyone has, the amount of ownership that everyone has, it's like, I feel pretty if someone else was, Zach was like, I don't want to be commissioner anymore. And then Fred was like, well, yeah, of course, like if you don't want to have the same level of responsibility, I'll take care of it. It'd be like, yeah, like Fred, of course, Fred, or if David or if, whoever like wanted to be like, yeah, I'm going to, make sure that everything that needs to happen happens. Well done. Good job. Then I'd be like, yeah, because like we all want the league to do well. It's as healthy as it's ever been, man. It really is. Like the amount of time and effort that people are putting into their teams, the amount of things that people want to do that aren't even necessarily, and having an all-star game, having a trophy, having, people want to talk about this stuff, during the off season. When I see anyone who's in the league, if I like run into someone, like I run into David sometimes going to work, and it's like, it was before the All-Star game the last time I saw him. It was like, hey, what's up? You training for the game? Like, how you do? You know what I mean? Like, how are you feeling about the playoffs? Like, that's what we talk about. Like, because we're all basketball nerds, and we all fucking want to beat each other in fantasy basketball or All-Star or whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the better leagues going around. I don't think too many other leagues have an all-star game and have their names on the back of singlets and have a big drink up after.
Yeah.
One of a kind in this country.
Yeah, for sure. Fuck, if we were in the States, we'd have to get because there's a thing that people do. This is more for football, but you get like, you travel to like Vegas or something, and you get a suite for the draft. It's like a draft suite, and they have like a whole like a tech setup. So like all that shit where everyone's sitting around on their computers, you wouldn't do that. Like everyone would have like a station, and then the draft would go up on a screen.
We could do that.
Damn,
like
that's an idea right there.
Yeah, I mean, we totally could. Like the thing is, we went out the season that the season that I won, we went up to Zach's batch.
Yeah, that's right.
Did like a thing, but we were all like on our phones and like on data. Like there was no Wi-Fi, so we'd probably want to do something like, I don't know, in town or something. But worth talking about leading up to the draft. Thinking about some ideas, some things that we could do. I just always want to get fucking fucked. Like I'm always trying to get drunk.
I think we'll leave it there for episode 1, but thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
No, thanks for having us, man. This was a huge success.
It's been everything I wanted it to be and more.
Good shit. I can't wait to see the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad we could help you get there,
Yeah.
Fred.
All right. Sweet, boys.
Take it later, Freddie.
Sweet. Thank you very much. Peace.
Later.
Started late last night, gave me such a fright. Why can't everything